advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Now, everybody's been to Louis Cafe by campus. Heck, it's been around since over 80 years now. We're still doing delicious omelets like the Mitchell, cheesy grits, Big Cheesy Lou, and those Louis Original Cajun hash browns. We now offer a pickup window. Just call in your order at 346-8221. Give us 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll have it ready for you. Our hours are now 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., 7 days a week. So next time you visit campus, make it a point to stop by and visit an old friend. Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU. Your AC doesn't care if it's the hottest day of the year. It just quits. That's why Total Maintenance offers same-day service to get your home cool and comfortable fast. Give Total Maintenance a call at 480-0007. Plus, repairs are backed up by our lifetime warranty, giving you confidence long after the repair is complete. When your AC breaks, don't sweat it. Call Total Maintenance, your total lifesaver. 480-0007. That's 480-0007 and tm-ac.com.
If you're looking for new windows, doors, or siding, I recommend you get multiple quotes. And please get one of them from me, Tommy, of Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. Check out GoTommys.com. That's GEAUX Tommys.com to get your free quote today.
If you've been in an accident and the insurance company won't pay for your rental or the diminished value of your vehicle, you aren't alone. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 2620484, office in Baton Rouge.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday, about half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Braxton Rizzuto and Cassie Spazali back there on the ones and twos. And we got a lot to get to over the course of the next couple of hours. Chris Blair is going to be with us in 15 minutes. Chris had a sit down earlier with Will Wade. That's going to be available for you to take in on LSU Plus coming up tonight. We'll preview that. Kind of get a little pub for it with Chris Blair, who obviously has a working relationship with Will Wade from Coach Wade's first stint here in Baton Rouge. So excited to talk to Chris about that 15 minutes from now. It's What If Wednesday. So we'll get those coming in. If you've got our text line, 225-499-1045. Send us a text. We'll get to What If Wednesday in 30 minutes. Dr. Chris Bankhead will be here from Oxford at 1:45. Got to preview the Texas Longhorns, who LSU will see coming up in November of this year. Also got to talk about the new 5-for-5 rules. I promised you during the show yesterday that I would dive into what it meant for LSU. And I've got some specific information as it relates to LSU basketball that we'll get to at 2:15. Brian Brzee is a hot topic on LouisianaSports.net, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on in our Saints segment at 2:30. So again, lots to do. Let's crank it up the way we do every day with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So Tyrann Matthews got us in the Bayou podcast, and LSU granted him some access earlier this summer. He sat down with Lane Kiffin, sat down with Whit Weeks, had Ty Benefield in as well, and chopped it up with those guys. And I wanted to get into some of the sound that Whit Weeks provided. It was about a 20, 25-minute sit-down that Tyrann had with him. And Whit's always a gregarious fellow. He's always got a lot to say. And I took some interest in some of the sound bites, so we'll just dive straight into them. First is just talking about Whit Weeks and his goals coming back for a 4th season in Baton Rouge.
I want to bring back that nasty defensive mentality down to the Bayou. You know what I mean? Like when I was growing up watching you play, watching Devin White, PQ, like teams used to fear to play those defenses.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to bring back to this place. Like teams turn on the film and they're like, oh shoot, we got to go play these dudes on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like they know that they're in for one when they come down to the Bayou.
That's kind of right out of what I talked about yesterday, isn't it? When we were talking about Blake Baker and him coming back and how big a deal that was for LSU, I'm saying absolutely Blake Baker has elevated LSU's defense from when he got here. You couldn't do anything else. It was on the floor, but he's elevated them. Now, the next step would be dominating, and clearly Whit Weeks kind of shares that exact sentiment in that, hey, we got to get back to being a championship-level defense. It may take a minute for Lane Kiffin's offense to really take flight in Baton Rouge. It may be week 1. I kind of doubt it. It may be week 8. Like, that seems more plausible. It might be a year in. Like, I don't know when it'll be a completely dynamic offense like the ones that he was turning out at Ole Miss towards the end. It's going to happen eventually. I just don't know when. But you can prop that offense up if you can play dominant and awesome defense, and that's what Whit Weeks wants to do, and that's what he was kind of expressing. And the next bite is Whit, and just talking about what he's excited about with this team that he decided to rejoin. Because keep in mind, like Whit Weeks could have gone to the NFL draft, and instead he decided to come back. What excites him?
I mean, I get in Saturday night in Death Valley. I mean, like I only got this my last year. I only got a couple more opportunities for the rest of my life to play in that stadium. So every time I go in there, I'm going to cherish it.
And I think he means that. I've spoken to Whit on enough occasions, not necessarily one-on-one in a lot of interview settings, and he talks about that all the time. Talks about how much it means to play in that stadium. Talks about how much it means to put on that uniform. In this day and age, money drives the bus more so than maybe ever before. And Whit Weeks could have made money in the NFL this coming fall. He could have made money at any SEC school he wanted this past year. But it does mean something to him to play for LSU. And I think that should mean something to the fan base too. And I'm confident that it does. But it's a big, big deal for him to be back for his 4th year. And one of the things he talked about was trying to get to the SEC championship game. If you ask me, Hunt Palmer, like, I'm not real concerned about LSU playing for the SEC title this year. That's not something that's high up on my list because there are a lot of ways to get where you're trying to go without doing that. You don't have to win the Southeastern Conference in baseball. You don't have to win the SEC tournament in baseball. Same thing in basketball. You don't have to win the SEC. You don't have to win SEC basketball tournament to get where you're trying to go to put yourself in a quality position. And you don't have to do that in the SEC either. But it sounds important to Whit, and he talked about it.
Consistency and communication. I mean, you know, playing defense, it all comes down to communication.
Yeah.
You turn the tape on last year, any big play that we busted, you could point it to communication.
Yeah.
Players not being on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One person thinks you're in a sim 2, the other thinks you're in 3, and you're screwed. Somebody hits you on the deep ball. So I think it ultimately comes down to just being consistent in your work every single day. Right now in the summertime when the days are hot and long, we're up here all day long.
And I think that's important for the leader of the defense to understand. That if we're going to be as good as we need to be, and we're going to get back to being towards the top of the SEC and competing in the SEC championship, which was a question Tyron asked him, we're going to have to communicate better and do these little things better. And there are a lot of guys that were on this roster with him last year. Now, he was hurt for a lot of it, but P.J. Woodland and D.J. Pickett and Deshaun Spears were here. Dominic McKinley was here. Devon Keys was here. There are a lot of guys that will be out on that field with him that were here and were part of making those mistakes. And there are a lot of guys that you brought in that are new, that are going to have to learn this Blake Baker defense and be in the right spot. And having a guy who understands that attention to detail, who has been here, who has seen this defense play well and has seen this defense struggle, knows what it takes. And his voice is going to be pretty loud. And to mention those new faces, like, there's a lot of new. Whit Weeks has a new linebackers coach because Blake Baker's kind of been elevated to just being the coordinator, and Chris Kiffin's coaching the linebackers, and Baker's going to coach the stars and be a little bit more of a CEO. And then you got a lot of new guys that are coming in. He's going to have to learn to play with TJ Dotter, and he's going to have to learn to play with Ty Benefield, and he's going to have to learn to play with a lot of guys that were not on the field with him last year. And he talked about the constant turning over of personnel inside a program year to year.
Nowadays, with the transfer portal, that's kind of what you have to expect every single year.
Right.
So this year we got a whole new coaching staff, but every single year that I've been in college, it's been a brand new team every single year. And I got a brand new group of friends every single year because we're bringing in 25, 30 guys a year in the portal. So it's really a new team every single year. The only thing I had to adjust to this year was a new face in the head coach's room, you know what I mean? A new offensive staff. But as far as the defensive staff goes, it's all the same faces. And we kind of got that chemistry built already. But I think the chemistry that Lane's came in here and instilled, everybody picked up on it like that. So it really wasn't that much. It wasn't that much of a challenge to pick up on it.
And that new head coach just happens to be his girlfriend's dad. And this has been a story that's dated back to before the Ole Miss game last year. And it's just an interesting situation for him to be in. I dare say unique, certainly in the Southeastern Conference, but probably across the country. I can't think of many players that are as in a high-profile position as Whit Weeks is, playing for as high-profile a coach as his head coach, Lane Kiffin, is, and then dating the coach's daughter. And that's something that Whit talked to Tyron about.
You like your father-in-law? Like
something like that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what's that like? Like, is y'all like competing? Like, is he like running trick plays on you?
Oh yeah.
Like trying to.
Yeah, it's cool.
Trying
Well,
to make you look bad. You know what I mean?
and I can't wait for camp because I didn't get to play this spring because of my ankle, so I was still out. But I could tell, like, we've had a couple. We've been out there a little bit. I mean, I could tell. They definitely try to cook up some stuff for sure.
It's an interesting dynamic, and certainly the LSU defense in fall camp will be tested far more than it was last year in fall camp. LSU's offense completely fell flat, and at least from formationally, from a tempo perspective, this offense is going to put up a better fight against the LSU defense early on, and it's going to have those guys ready to play. Lane, what was asked, like, what stands out about Lane as the head coach?
I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is that he's focused on every little detail. Like, he doesn't cut any corner at all. Like, as far as what he expects from not only the players, but what he expects from his coaches as well. That's the biggest, like, that's what's really standing out to me is the work that he expects out of his coaches and out of his staff. Also with the players, of course, but that's what stands out to me the most.
It's interesting because, look, I'm from outside the program here. I'm judging from afar, but that would have been something that I would have assumed one would say about Brian Kelly, because you heard about all the checklists they had to go through with the nutrition and the sleep and the CEO approach and making sure you're paying attention to all the details. And I would have thought that was something that he would have been right on with Brian Kelly with, but obviously it's standing out about Lane Kiffin as well, and Lane Kiffin's going to be more involved, I think, in the installation and the play calling on the offense than Brian Kelly was. Now, Charlie Weiss is going to literally call the plays, but Kiffin will be very, very hands-on from that perspective as well. I don't think you're going to hear Lane Kiffin or see the video of him yelling at Charlie Weiss on the headset, "What the blank are you doing?" In this case, it was Joe Sloan, like Kelly did last year. You can't call that play with no timeouts. Like, there was a disconnect there, and I think that was pretty obvious. You look at this offensive staff with Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr., I don't expect there to be much of a disconnect there. And if the defensive players are noticing just how on top of things Lane Kiffin is, I think that means a lot for the entirety of the roster, because he's going to be focused on the offensive side of things, but the defense as well, something that you're noticing there. So you can check out that conversation. It's the In the Bayou podcast with Tyron Matthew. Whit Weeks was on there. Lane Kiffin was on there previously. He's gotten a little bit of access and put out some good content there. So wanted to start the show with a little bit of that. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. You can find them online at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. We'll take a time out. When we come back, Will Wade back here in Baton Rouge. He's got a video and a sit-down with Chris Blair that's coming out this evening. The voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, will sit down and tell us what we can expect from that and what we can expect from the LSU basketball program. We'll talk about that with Chris Blair next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running the show at Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years. If you're looking for a Generac home standby generator for your home or for your business, contact the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. I promise you, you can buy a Generac home standby generator from the big box store. You can do that. They'll come out. I'm sure they'll install it. And then will you hear from them again? I don't know. At Boudreaux's Electrical, you call the local people. They come out with a local team, get you a quote. A local team does the installation. They monitor that generator after the installation 24/7 locally. And if there's a mechanical issue, a local team comes out and fixes it. So that when that storm comes through and when that power wants to fail, that generator kicks on and you got AC, you got lights, you got television, you got a fridge, you got a freezer. That's the difference. The local touch that Boudreaux's Electrical Services provides. You give them a call at 985-397-1562. You can also call the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. Give the easy way every day as well. It's BoudreauxElectrical.com. It's my friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Online at BoudreauxElectrical.com.
What's the difference between a house and a home? A house is somewhere you live. A home is somewhere you start a family, make memories, or continue family traditions. At GMFS Mortgage, we make home happen. And our tradition is to help our clients from start to finish, whether you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance. For more information, check out GMFSmortgage.com. That's GMFSmortgage.com for GMFS Mortgage, where we make home happen.
GMFS LLC, NMLS 64997 is equal housing lender. Mortgage is originated at 7389 Florida Boulevard, Suite 208, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70435. Loan applications are subject to credit and property approval.
Take a swing around the parish to one of Breck's 5 golf courses. 2 championship courses, Santa Maria and Beaver Creek, and 3 courses for the more casual golfers. The popular 18-hole Webb Park and 2 9-hole courses, City Park and the newly renovated J.S. Clark. Breck's courses are designed to challenge every level of golfer from beginner to pro. So come and get into the swing of things. Book your tee time online or find a course near you at golf.breck.org. That's golf.breck.org.
Hey, Louisiana, it's Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. This September, Keep Louisiana Beautiful will launch Love Our Waterways, a month-long statewide cleanup to help preserve the beauty of all our waterways, including our lakes, rivers, and bayous. Volunteer to clean up litter by boat or on land along the shore. Get on board at lovelawaterways.org. That's lovelawaterways.org. I'll see you there.
One of the most respected companies in the area, the Shaw Group, is hiring, and they've just announced pay increases for tackers, fitters, and combo welders in Walker. It's pay that's very competitive, plus benefits and paid time off. A team that puts safety first while working on the best high-impact local fabrication with no travel required. Apply online at theshawgrp.com/careers. theshawgrp.com/careers. The Shaw Group. Build your future right here at home.
Supreme service, supreme savings, supreme selection. It's simply Supreme Chevy in Gonzales, where you can expect more. More choices from brand new Chevy Silverados to quality pre-owned vehicles, including nearly all makes and models. Get more with our pre-owned value line, which offers a big selection under $25,000. Visit us today or browse anytime at SupremeChevy.com. Supreme Chevrolet in Gonzales, your way, every day. It's simply the Supreme way. Chevy, together let's drive. Plus tax, title, and license.
Big storm coming.
When storms hit, roads close, or families need trusted information, AM radio is there. Congress has a bipartisan bill to keep AM radio in every vehicle. Louisianians are represented by powerful members of Congress, Speaker Mike Johnson and Leader Steve Scalise. They have the power to bring this bill up for a vote, and Louisiana can lead the way for radio listeners nationwide. Text AM to 39179 and tell Washington to bring the AM radio for every vehicle act to a vote now.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you got any questions for What If Wednesday, get them in on the text line, 225-499-1045. We'll answer 4 or 5 what ifs from you, the listeners. Coming up in our next segment, back on Monday night, big night for LSU basketball. Had a great event over at Supper Club, raised a lot of money for the basketball program. We know that Will Wade is a promoter. He likes to promote. He likes to be seen. He likes to be out in the community. He likes to make LSU basketball very, very public. And part of that push tonight will be airing at 6 o'clock on LSU Plus. A Will Wade interview with Chris Tigers. Nope, that'd be Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, who joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline to talk a little bit about that and Will Raines' return to Baton Rouge. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. That should have been my name when I started in radio. Chris Tiger, much better than Chris Blair.
You had a chance to sit down with the new head coach of the men's basketball program, who happens to be the old coach of the men's basketball program as well. Your relationship with Will Wade goes a ways back, just like riding a bike, talking to Coach Wade.
It really was. I mean, it's interesting because when all of that went down and we were told that Coach Wade was returning, I don't ask people for much, but I said, I would love to have 20 or 30 minutes to kind of cover everything post 2022 to where we are today. And obviously Coach Wade hit the ground running, as you just talked about, building a roster, setting a schedule, assembling a staff, and raising money. So hopefully, or thankfully, we were able to get together a little over a week ago, spent about 30 minutes together with the cameras running, mics were on. And I think I just can't imagine that LSU fans, there's two things, Hunt. One, I think LSU fans, when they see this, are going to know why this was the right move. This is why everybody's excited and the future is bright for the basketball program. But I also think there are a lot of people who maybe are looking from the outside in that have already made a decision on Coach Wade. And I don't think he'll change their minds. But I think it's an interesting look as to why things are done the way they do it. It's not helter-skelter. It's not from the hip. Everything is very calculated. And I think it comes out in his comments on the interview tonight.
He said in his introductory press conference that he's not from Louisiana, but Louisiana is home. And it's very, very rare that someone would come back to a place where they were let go the way he was. Did he expound upon that with you? And what was your impression in talking to him about returning to a place where he was fired?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the questions that I put down, that I said, come hell or high water, before we get done and they shut the camera off, I want to go back to that. And it's a very thoughtful answer. And it's a very, when you hear it, you can probably think to yourself, well, why would he want to? And there's probably, 4 to 5 different scenarios you could come up with on your own. But when you hear the way he explains it, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't even require a follow-up, Hunt. That's how good the answer was. I mean, you're like, okay, I think we're done here. And, again, it comes from the heart. And, I told people for a long time that, it's interesting. I've been in the business for about 30 years, and I have gone through a number of coaches being hired and coaches being fired at Clemson, at Georgia Southern, and obviously here at LSU. This was the one time that I really felt like, and I didn't know, had no chance to know that this would ever come back around again. But I thought it's interesting because I felt like the overwhelming majority of the fan base was like, he should be our coach. He should still be here. He should be our coach. And I got to be honest with you, that doesn't happen. I mean, there's been a lot of successful coaches that tenures end at certain institutions, and most people look at each other and go, yeah, probably was the right time, probably had to do it, nothing else you could do. I just didn't get the sense. And it was one of those rare times. And when he talks about what this state, what this program, what this university has meant to him, again, I think everybody is going to be pumped and ready to run through a wall.
Do you get the sense that he's a different guy than he was when he left in terms of the way that he's going to operate?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the total run of the interviews somewhere in the neighborhood 23, 24 minutes. And I would say a lot of the focus is on that question. Again, we talk a little bit about the roster. We talk a lot about assembling the staff that he's assembled and the 100 plus years of Division I experience, not counting him that he now has on that bench. But we spent a lot of time, talking about what you just asked. What's different about Will Wade, the person, off the floor, in the office, running a Power 4 program, as opposed to when you walked in the door in 2017? Because it's interesting. He and I sat down face-to-face in the LSU men's locker room the day, a couple of hours actually, before his press conference when he was named the head coach in 2017. And I can tell you, sitting there with him, last week, it's obviously different. But to hear him to kind of self-evaluate and talk about things that he's worked on and how he handles things differently, while at the same time still having that fire and that passion, again, really took me aback. There's a lot of similarity to the Will Wade that we all knew and loved, but I think you're going to see a little bit of difference too. And it may not be, obvious. I think it's just going to be some of the details around the program that maybe fans see and maybe fans don't, but I think it's going to benefit what they see on the floor.
Talking with Chris Blair. You can catch his sit down with Will Wade coming up on LSU Plus tonight at 6 o'clock, about 20-25 minutes with the LSU head men's basketball coach. I have said this on my air that we have not heard a lot from LSU about the roster to come in 2026-2027. There have been some reports. We understand that they're going heavily on the international side of things, and we know that the eligibility rules are changing almost by the day. It literally did yesterday. But I've said that because they're being quiet, it just feels like there's some confidence there. Do you feel like he's comfortable with the roster he's assembled to this point?
Yeah, he's certainly laid back because I'd leaned right into that about both of those fronts. Like, where are we with the roster build? How important it is going into year one. And he talks about why one is certainly directly related to the other. And what I mean by that is he came back to LSU to pick up where he left off, winning. Competing in what I think year to year is the toughest league top to bottom in college basketball, certainly one of them. And to do that, what are your means that currently, as we sit here on the 24th of June, 2026, what are some of the means that are allowed to do that? And right now, LSU and Coach Will Wade are taking advantage of that. He's not rewriting the rules. He's just following where the rules are and where the rules aren't. So he gets pretty in-depth about how he's building the roster, why he's doing it the way he's doing it. And again, it's one of the things I tell people about Coach Wade that, he's probably best known for his ranting and raving and, jumping up and down the court and smacking the scorer's table and giving the fist bumps and all of that. And again, that draws eyeballs. I understand that. But make no mistake, every decision he makes has a very calculated and very researched reason behind it. And that's why I would never play chess against him.
I'm curious his thoughts on LSU basketball and where it stands on the totem pole of LSU athletics. Virgil Osbury sat in this very studio and told Matt Moscona a couple months ago that it's very expensive to be good at everything. And we know that LSU's good in making commitment to football. They're very, very good at baseball. They're very, very good at women's basketball. Like, there's a lot of different mouths to feed here. And he's been here before and understands that. Like, how comfortable is he with where men's basketball stands, and where do you think that's headed?
I think fans are really going to take from this, again, because I did. I never really heard him talk about this before, but it's part of the maturation and growth in the sense that he talks a lot about in this sit-down about the time he spent arguing or fighting his first time here about they've got this and we don't. I don't have this and that guy does. And he goes, hey, look, you can continue to do that, but in his opinion, it was wasted time. What are some things LSU has, the program has, the culture has, the city, the state has that other teams and other schools don't have? Okay, let's maximize that instead of going out and trying to chase, matching a checklist of what this school has and what this coach has. And so I think by a way of understanding that, he found that he was able to thrive and succeed without having to have everything that so-and-so has. So I think there's a very good understanding. And again, this is just me on the outside looking in, between where the priorities are in this day and age we are in college athletics for who drives the bus, and then how do you go about making a successful program, even if you don't have everything that all of your competitors have. So I think, again, it goes back to Will certainly mapping things out, looking at how do we win if we don't have the budget that, say, the team in Lexington does, or maybe the team in Fayetteville, or whatever team you want to pick. And I think there's a good synergy there between the administration on campus, obviously familiar with the way Coach Wade goes about his business and has success, and the athletic director and the athletic department and the basketball program. So, yeah, I think that's kind of why this makes this a good fit, is that Will understands, this may not be a traditional blue blood program that will have everything at his beck and call. still doesn't mean he can't go out and win. And we saw him do that for a number of years. I mean, again, 5 years here and 4 times went to the NCAA tournament and would have gone another time had COVID not canceled it.
No question about it. Over at LSU Plus, that's at lsuplus.net. You can listen to Chris Blair sit down with LSU head basketball coach Will Wade at 6 o'clock. Chris, 6 o'clock to about 7:30 in my house. A lot of cleaning peanut butter and jelly off the floor. A lot of trying to make sure the 1-year-old doesn't bash his head in the bathtub. There's a lot going on from 6 to 7:30. Probably going to have to wait till about 8 o'clock to tune in, but I'll be all over it. And I know a lot of folks will as well. I appreciate you stopping by, and we'll talk to you again later this summer.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you letting me do it. And again, I think fans are really going to enjoy the long depth answers. And I promise, I don't talk a lot on it by design. I'm like, let me ask a quick question and let Coach Wade, talk. So I think, I know it sounds like I'm, a shameless plug here, but I really think fans are going to get a lot from it and leave watching it knowing that this year is going to be one heck of a fun season.
We are very much looking forward to it. Thanks, Chris.
You got it.
That is Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers. Again, you can listen to his sit-down with LSU head basketball coach Will Wade at lsuplus.net. You can sign up for $8.99 a month for LSU Plus. There also is a trial period that you can check in as well. So I will absolutely be locked into that. Y'all know I love LSU basketball and excited for Will Wade's return. And I'm very curious about what the next few months bring, because the eligibility issues are interesting. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the second hour, because we have the new 5-for-5 deal with the 19th birthday and finishing your high school career. And I did some research on that, as I promised I would yesterday on the air. That broke while we were on the air. It's hard for me to give you a real thoughtful and thorough breakdown of that when it happens while I'm talking into the microphone. But earlier this morning, I was able to get into it, and I think I've got a pretty good feeling for where things are from an international perspective. And some of it's good, some of it's a little questionable, but I'll get into that in the second hour. We appreciate Chris for coming on and making that happen for us. Let's come back and do some What If Wednesday. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Been telling you this for a couple of months, but I'm being very truthful. It's the end of June. You got July coming up. Maybe it is time for your family to head to the beach. Maybe it's time to hit the road for the mountains of Tennessee, wherever Grandma and Grandpa's house are, or wherever you decide to take the family for a week for the summer. If you need a new SUV for that, contact my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can start online at FabryChevrolet.com. You can see the Tahoes. You can see the Suburbans. You can see the Yukons, Denali's. They're all right there. You can get new. You can get pre-owned. You can search through those filters and determine what it is you're looking for. If you go the pre-owned route, you can search by mileage as well. It's all right there at your fingertips at FabryChevrolet.com. I highly suggest you go check them out on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Phenomenal customer service, great inventory, and wonderful deals as well. So go by and see them. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Depression can feel hopeless, draining your energy and joy, but there's a proven way forward. At NeuroJust, TMS therapy is FDA approved, covered by insurance, and backed by 30 years of research. This safe, non-invasive treatment re-engages the parts of your brain tied to mood, with over 85% of patients seeing real results, many achieving full remission. Imagine peace, better sleep, and the freedom to enjoy life again. Start your healing journey today. Visit NeuroJust off Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge or online at neurojust.com.
This summer, as the world watches the pitch, Raising Cane's is serving up the best matches all tournament long, like chicken fingers and cane sauce. No matter who you're rooting for this summer, pick it with Cane's for the games. One love.
Bring your backyard to life with a pool from Renaissance, known for custom craftsmanship and one-on-one attention. Renaissance Home and Pools turns your vision into reality. Owner Joey Blanchard brings 20 years experience and cutting-edge 3D designs, so you'll know exactly what to expect every step of the way, from the first sketch to your first swim. Renaissance delivers pools built to inspire and to have fun in. Visit builtbyrenaissance.com and let your backyard renaissance begin.
Every great team starts with trust. So does great healthcare. As LSU's championship health partner, FMOL Health Our Lady of the Lake cares for Tigers and Louisiana families alike. Learn more at fmolhealth.org/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.
When you've been in the industry for over 20 years, you learn a few things. For one thing, you learn your product inside and out. But you also learn how to ask the right questions and give satisfying answers. Jim's Firearms.
Ask your family dentist. Do your research to help choose the best solution if you have missing or failing teeth. Hi, this is Dr. Leo Reagan at Fusion Implant Center.
And I'm Dr. Michael Casadban. We provide comprehensive care from start to finish. As board-certified dental specialists and licensed physicians, we take care of your needs in the most complete manner possible.
Safe, done correctly the first time, but also here for a second opinion to help guide you and possibly eliminate the need for any redo or revision surgery.
Clearly, it's less costly, less time-consuming, and with considerably less risk to have your treatment designed and performed correctly. The first time at Fusion Implant Center.
Call us for your consultation today and let us show you why our technology and expertise is superior. We are the only team of specialists in Louisiana that do what we do.
So don't put this off any longer. Call us or visit FusionImplantCenter.com, because one moment can change a day.
And one day at Fusion Implant Center can change your life forever.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Glow Resources, complete employer solutions. GlowResources.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Had an opportunity earlier today to sit down with my friend David Duvall over at One Bath and Closets. We were chatting about some of the things that he's been doing over there, and the thing that kept coming up was issues in folks' showers. If you notice a crack in your shower, if you notice some sort of issue where something's not stable or is breaking, don't wait. Don't delay and go, I'll get to that in a minute. Because the issue that David sees so often is you realize that the shower, there's a lot of water. One coming out of the shower head, two in the walls. And if you've got a defect that you don't pay attention to in a timely manner, that water's got to go somewhere. In the walls, in the floors, in other rooms. It can cause black mold. It can cause wood rot. It can cause damage to multiple walls. And all of a sudden, this little crack that you're looking at in the shower is a massive, massive repair job. And that's something that he sees all the time. So if you see, especially in tile showers, some sort of crack, some sort of deformity that doesn't quite look right, just have David and his team come look at it. He's an expert. He'll be able to tell you what the issue is. And if you catch it quickly, it could be a quick fix. But if you say, I don't really feel like dealing with that right now, maybe tomorrow, and then tomorrow turns into 3 weeks from now and a month and a half from now and 6 months from now, you could have significant issues. And David sees that kind of stuff all the time. So don't call your handyman down the street. Call One Bath and Closets. It's not just renovations, not just remodels. Could be a situation where they identify a significant issue in one of your bathrooms. Water is a dangerous deal when it comes to financial input in a repair. I dealt with that in insurance for 7 years. Contact David Duvall, One Bath and Closets. They're online at onebathandclosets.com. All right, we'll have our chat with Dr. Bankhead from Oxford coming up in about 10 minutes. But right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
All right, so from the text line, we have, what if Hunt was an Arkansas baseball fan? Would he just accept that they are cursed and give up at this point?
I mean, no. I am a Cubs fan. I did this exact same thing for a long time. I mean, the Cubs have had brutal beats. The Bartman game is one that was in my lifetime, and obviously Arkansas got all the way to the final out of the College World Series final and dropped it in foul territory. I want to be very clear here. Just listen. Don't overreact. There's a very, very, very small piece of me that is jealous of the Arkansas baseball fan, the A&M baseball fan, the A&M football fan. I'm jealous of them because they have the opportunity to experience something for the first time. They have the opportunity to break through. I got baseball championships as far as the eye can see.
Right.
I've seen 2 of them right in front of me. I've seen us win 3 football national championships right in front of me. I watched the Cubs win the World Series. I went to Chicago for games 3 and 4. I didn't go to the games, but I was up there and saw the environment. Like, I've seen almost everything. They still have that potential experience. I wouldn't trade with them. I like my spot way better.
Right.
There's a small part of me that's like, that chasing that first one is kind of fun.
It is fun. Let's see. We got, what if Sam Levitt is only running at 80% this year?
That's a problem if he is. Now, I will tell you this. Did some checking on LSU summer workouts. They're obviously with the strength and conditioning coach. They're not with the coaches. They're not running 11 on 11s. They're just out there running and throwing a little bit. Just checked in, and I can report that Sam Levitt's moving pretty good out there. He's out there with the team. They're working out. He's able to run. Lane Kiffin said he'd been cleared, so that should be no surprise. I'm not breaking any news here. I'm not writing 4,000 words on LouisianaSports.net on this, but Sam Levitt is running around out there. He is out on the field with his teammates, and things are progressing well. So I don't anticipate that he is going to be limited. But we talked about Matt Mullock, who had this same injury in 2002, and he came back in 2003 and did not feel like he could run as well as he did early in his LSU career. Now, he set passing records. They won a national title, so that worked out pretty well. But if Levitt's only 80%, that takes away a big piece of his game. And Lane Kiffin talked to Tyrann Mathieu about having a mobile quarterback and having guys that can make crazy things happen on third down. You saw Trinidad Chambliss do that a lot last year. That's part of Levitt's game, and you really want that. So if he's compromised significantly, that would be bad. I don't have any reason to believe that he will be.
I mean, it's one thing that he gets to 100%, but it's another when it's 2 months early.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a lot more time to build up more strength and build up, leading up to the season.
I think we will get a pretty good look at his foot health when we're able to go watch fall practice.
Right.
I think we got a reasonable look at it in the spring when he was clearly hobbled, and I think we'll get a decent look at that. If it were, like, if you've got like a linebacker's shoulder and they're not tackling, like, I don't really know. I feel like a quarterback's foot, I'll be able to tell how he's moving.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to, drop back in the pocket, kind of step up, and there's a lot of different movements. And if they can do that perfectively, then we're in good hands.
Yep.
So what if you were limited to only one beach beverage next week?
I think I would go with the seltzer. I think I would go with like a neutral.
Okay.
I love cold beer. I will have plenty of cold beers next week on the beach. But if you told me I could only have either beer or a seltzer on the beach when it's like 104,
right,
it's probably going to be a seltzer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have both. But if you're telling me what if there's only one, that's probably where I'm going to
you're
land.
at the beach. You got to be a little different sometimes.
Probably where I'm going to land. They're just lighter, go down a little smoother. But luckily, I don't have that issue. I'm not limited to one. I can have as many as I want, so we're good.
That's why it's only what if. See, what if LSU is done in the baseball portal?
That's a two-part answer. One, I really wish they added a couple more pitchers.
Yeah.
So I would be a little disappointed in that. Two, I got to know how the draft goes, because you can add, I think it's realistic to expect 2 freshmen to help out of the bullpen. I think it's realistic to expect someone to look like Kason Evans did at times 2 years ago. Not necessarily pitch to a 2.0 ERA for the entire season, but like be an impact guy as a freshman. That isn't a reasonable ask. It's unreasonable generally to ask a freshman to toe the rubber on Friday nights in the SEC. Like, I don't want to do that. But you can ask him to help. And so I think that is reasonable. But I would be disappointed if they were done. I also checked on that this morning. I don't expect any news on LSU getting a transfer portal commitment today. Do I think it's possible LSU gets one in the next 2 days? I do, based on what I was told this morning. I don't have a concrete name, but I'm working on that, and I think that there was some progress made yesterday, and I think that LSU could pick up a portal commitment Friday or Saturday of this week, but I wouldn't expect it today, and I don't think there's a lot of work to be done, but I would love it if they got a relief pitcher or two.
That is it for What If.
All right, that's it for What If Wednesday here. Let me remind you about my friends over at Auction. We're about to talk to the folks over at Auction coming up in our next segment, but they have kind of given you a talking point for every single month. And this month, they've been telling you that whether you're an athlete or just trying to stay active, Auction Rangers Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help you get moving and keep you moving. And so you've got access to the highest levels of specialized care, nationally renowned expertise, latest equipment and modern facilities, and that includes a convenient walk-in orthopedic clinic over at Elite Training Complex on Burbank. I drove by Elite earlier today. Got those 2 football fields out there with the big goalposts. You can't miss it. And what you realize when you drive by, they've got a walk-in clinic right there for you. So if you've got a sprain, strain, minor dislocation, whatever it may be from a sports perspective, you can walk in without an appointment. They've got x-rays on site, so you can walk in today over at Elite. That's all courtesy of our friends over at Ochsner. Moving right along here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We have a lot to get to in hour number 2. I'm excited about it. We're going to preview the Texas Longhorns, where LSU will see. Keep in mind, LSU was supposed to see Texas in 2020 after the 2019 game in Austin. It was going to be big deal. Sam Ehlinger was back, defending national champions, Texas' first time in Tiger Stadium, and then COVID took it from us. Well, now finally we get that rematch 7 years later, and I think there's some really intriguing storylines around Texas, specifically their schedule, which is absolutely brutal. The 5-for-5 rule that passed yesterday while I was on the air, as I mentioned in the last segment, I've got some LSU basketball thoughts on that. I've got some LSU football thoughts on that as well. So we'll talk about that at 2:15. The Saints picked up Brian Brzez's option back in April. What does he mean to this organization and this defense moving forward? Can he be a true 3-down impact defensive tackle for this Saints defense? We'll discuss a little bit of that as well. So plenty to get to over the course of the next hour and 15 minutes here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. When we come back, we'll talk with Dr. Chris Bankhead from Ochsner. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTrosOnline.com. GoTrosOnline.com. If you need a new zero-turn mower, you got to go to GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Saturday is a half day. But get by and see them. They can get you behind the wheel of a new zero-turn mower for $100 a month. Like, what do you pay to get that grass cut by one of your contractors? Significantly more, maybe? You can get behind the wheel for $100. Handle it yourself. They've been the National Hustler Dealer of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. They got trucks on the road 8 hours a day with their parts. If you need a trailer to deliver that zero-turn mower to you, they've got that covered as well. Wonderful customer service, family-owned and operated, 22 years in business, 2 locations, Baton Rouge on Airline, and, of course, in Gonzales as well. Check them out online at GoTrosOnline.com. That's GoTro's Outdoor Power.
Caring for an aging loved one can be challenging, but Decision Critical Concierge Nursing offers relief. Our compassionate nurses provide personalized care at home, assisted living, or nursing facilities. Wellness checks and medication support to assisted physician office visits, IV hydration, and post-operative care. Our elderly care package delivers regular, tailored support. Partnering with your favorite family and medical team to help your loved one thrive is what they do best. Visit DecisionCriticalBR.com to schedule your complimentary discovery call.
What are you doing with your tax refund? Invest it in your home with new windows, doors, and siding from me, Tommy. And you could save money every month on electric and gas bills. Check out GoTommys.com. That's GEAUX Tommys.com to get your free quote from Tommy's Windows today.
Water is water, right? Not when it's Evermore. Smooth tasting Evermore water is Mother Nature's masterpiece. Evermore is natural artesian water. Maybe you want a healthier lifestyle, a high-end athlete who wants better hydration, or a parent who wants something healthier for their kids. You want Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore. Available at great local retailers.
Brandon Barton here to remind you it's hurricane season. No, I'm not here to sell you a generator. This year, we at K to Z Interiors and Outdoor Living think you should get something that's going to improve your life and your home's look all year around, not just hurricane season. And yes, we have products that are warranted for hurricane winds. See for yourself at K2ZBlinds.com and set up a consultation and complimentary installation. That's K2ZBlinds.com.
Summer savings are happening now at Hood Dental Care. This June, new patient specials start at $89, plus save $500 on Invisalign. Schedule an appointment, bring in the family, or refer friends and qualify for a chance to win a Disney World getaway with 4 4-day park tickets and resort stay included. Hood Dental Care also offers online scheduling, same-day care, and cherry financing with flexible payment options and instant decisions. Visit one of 5 Hood Dental Care locations across East Baton Rouge and Livingston parishes. Book now at hooddentalcare.com. Hood Dental Care. HoodDentalCare.com.
Boudreaux, I had a smell behind my restaurant so bad, even the crawfish packed up and left.
Thibodeau, that's terrible. What'd you do?
Called Trash Rangers. They picked up everything. Fast, friendly, no fuss, make it smell good.
They handle my house trash too. Reliable as Momo's gumbo recipe.
Man, that's saying something.
Folks need good service from right here in Louisiana.
Then they better get on the trashrangers.com before that smell comes back.
Amen to that.
Aye.
At Custom Colors Body and Paint, we're excited to have Will Rapp and Ian McKnight on our team. They're continuing the tradition of exceptional service that Billy Rapp and Pete McKnight began back in 1987.
Custom Colors on Cloverland near Industrialplex in Siegen.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. That's builtbyrenaissance.com. Time now to start with our bi-weekly conversation with the folks over at Ochsner. Dr. Chris Bankhead, good enough to give us a little time here at the end of hour number one. Dr. Bankhead, thanks for that time. How are you?
I'm doing great, Hunt. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. World Cup's kind of taken over here in America. I'm not a huge soccer guy. I'm thrilled that everyone is loving the World Cup, and I'm thrilled that Team USA is 2-0. My question to you is, do y'all have treatment for fake injuries that happen all the time in soccer games? Is that something that y'all look at a lot?
We don't see a lot of that, thankfully. There's sort of a process where that happens. I think usually the freezy spray that they take out with them on the field handles most of it.
Keep that in stock over there in case you've got some soccer players that are really banged up from the air. I am curious because there's a lot of debate about Christian Pulisic, who's Team USA's best player, and his calf injury. I'm not speaking about his specifically, but y'all obviously deal with athletes who are trying to get back to the field as quickly as possible. How much of that time frame are y'all putting just like by the book? This is what this usually takes, and how much are you trusting patients and athletes to give you the feedback that you're looking for to let them return to whatever it is they're trying to do?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, right? There's always sort of objective criteria that we want to meet, right? A lot of times, so it starts with diagnosis, right? So I'm sure he, had advanced imaging, whether that's ultrasound or MRI. They can kind of categorize the injury as being like sort of low grade, high grade, and then you establish a plan, right? Generally, you have some objective measurements. A lot of these guys wear like monitors, to test like how fast are they running, what's their speed, what's their velocity. They have like kind of baselines to go by too, like the things that they started their training with, like at the very beginning of their camp, how fast were they moving, and so they can kind of compare that. The good thing about orthopedics is you got, one of everything, right? You got two sides, so you got a right and a left, and so we can compare limb symmetry. Limb symmetry index is kind of some numbers we go by. We want to make sure, depending on what the injury is, generally you want someone to be at least 90% symmetric from side to side in order to kind of get them back to sports. And so there's some equipment that we can use to kind of test your joints in different planes. And then, there's just the good old-fashioned eye test, right? We want to see, are you moving the same? Do you have the same sort of change of direction? Are your body movements symmetric? Are you able to kind of move one way or the other? And I'm sure they ran through that with him. It sounded like, he worked on his own, right? So that's kind of the first steps. You work on your own. You're with an athletic trainer, physical therapist, orthopedist. You're doing all those things, and then you progress. You're doing more group workouts, and then you kind of up your intensity. And so it sounds like he's kind of worked through that process. And obviously their goals are to win knockout games. They want him kind of as healthy as possible for the rest of the way.
I'm curious your thoughts. Like, there's a rust factor, obviously. There's a game shape factor, obviously, and then there's a health factor, which is probably the most important thing. You think he's going to play?
I don't know. It depends on what their plan is. I think they have a very specific plan, right? So they may say, well, look, he's ready to go. We've gotten him some reps in practice, but it's not the same as the game. Maybe they want to get him a certain amount of time. Sometimes you'll see that as guys are coming back from injury. They'll say, well, look, we want to play you 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get you ready for the next game. And so I'm not sure what their plan is, but I'm sure they have a very clear plan on what that would be. So I wouldn't be surprised if he played, but played a limited amount, something that they can control, just to get him ready for maybe a full game the next time out.
The eyes of the nation will certainly be watching. Team USA coming up against Turkey tomorrow. All right. Obviously, with Elite, the walk-in clinic over there, there's always things going on, and y'all are always available to Baton Rouge in the event that walk-ins are necessary. Tell us what's going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, so comprehensive orthopedic walk-in care, which I think is fantastic, especially this time of year. I know everyone's getting outside, whether you're playing soccer, baseball, basketball, 7-on-7 flag football. We got someone there all the time to take care of any sprains, strains, sports-related injuries. And it doesn't have to be just sports, any kind of musculoskeletal pain or care that you're looking for. We can get you set up. Whole team of orthopedists, advanced practice providers, physical therapists, everyone's out there and ready to help.
It's a really, really big asset here in Baton Rouge. You can't miss it. Big uprights, big football fields right next to it there on Burbank. It is Elite, brought to you by our friends over at Ochsner. They're with us every couple of weeks on Wednesdays. Dr. Bankhead, we appreciate the time. Have a great afternoon.
All right, thanks, you too.
That is Dr. Chris Bankhead with Ochsner. I didn't have it in me, Braxton, to bring up my Cubs because I don't think the folks at Ochsner have any answers. The Cubs are in the midst of the most ridiculous rash of pitching injuries. Got to be in the history of baseball. Has to be. Man. The entire weekend rotation, that would be LSU. The entire 5-man rotation is hurt. And the former ace, who was supposed to start the year on the IL and then come back in the summer, he had a setback from Tommy John surgery. And the best prospect that they had, who came up and was pitching the best on the team, is hurt. That's 7 starters, as well as their best prospect in AA, all hurt.
Yeah,
is that good or is that not good?
That's horrible.
It's not good.
Mm-mm.
It's not good at all. Shota Imanaga is the only pitcher that's left that has pitched at all in the big leagues. They called 2 guys up from AAA today that I've never heard of. And I don't even wear this as a badge of honor. It just is what it is. I know a lot of Cubs prospects. Yeah. I never heard of these 2 guys because they don't have any pitchers left to go out there. They're playing a doubleheader today.
Yeah, you can't do that.
They don't have any pitchers. I said, and Jordan clipped it, and I'm sure he'll play it